and then 6:30, and everybody does start at 6, so.
Well, we have one of our meetings start at 6, so I'm always confused there.
Yeah.
So I can tell you the wrong thing.
We didn't have a BZA meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's like,
That's 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Hey, how are you?
long time no see, stranger.
Hi, Susan.
Susan.
Susan, this is Kim.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
It's my dear.
Hi, Susan.
Hi, good to see you. Doing good. Yes, yep, next May. It's coming up fast. Yeah.
All right, so I brought a pen. Not him?
Yeah, the other side maybe, my pocket.
So I'm gonna switch papers, because it's half written. Half not, so.
This is all I'm expecting, so feel free
Yeah.
to sit where you want.
That's what I was-
That's not the thing. Then
I know it's not, but
it's
it's
real
okay.
conflict.
That's why it's okay.
Guys, find anyone who might be interested in joining us yet? On the
I
redevelopment?
haven't had a chance to.
So,
United States, don't do that stuff, just-
What's our thoughts? Is it just someone in town?
Yeah, I think so. I think
Well,
they might be able
it's
to
not
own
decided.
property in town, own or live in it.
He's a very black and
So-
white person.
Yeah.
He's not. a
Do you know Greg
visionary in
Canoe?
any way, so.
Owns a tavern down in.
You do or you don't.
I've been trying to decide how to approach him, but the problem is he teaches a class on Wednesday nights. So
Where you got-
I don't know how-
Where they see something happen.
I don't know how like in stone that
That's why.
is, if it's like he's teaching it this semester, but he won't next. So I'm gonna, I'm going to a Friendsgiving at their house on
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah.
So I planned on kind of showing up a minute or two early and being like, hey, how would you feel about this? I mean, he's very business minded, very good. So that's somewhere I thought about, and then,
My family's here.
Just tell them we're looking for someone. If they're interested, have questions, we'll get a hold of them.
to get over you. Let me see. So I thought about someone else too, and I thought, oh, I was thinking about, because Jessica works in Dillsboro, but she lives in Farmers Retreat, so she can't do that. So, I knew it was someone that I thought about, but then I was like, there's a reason that we can't talk to them. But I may look at the bank again and see who all like lives in Dillsboro, but doesn't so much work in Dillsboro, because that's where I think I'm looking at people that I know work here, but they don't all live here.
A lot of people just around the outside that's involved in a lot.
One of my thoughts is, if Greg says he's not interested, rumor, I think, his girlfriend is getting ready to move to Dillsboro with him.
Okay.
And then I can be like, I guess he's a town resident now.
I got 6:30, I'm gonna start the calls to order.
You are calling the meeting to order?
Just it was showed for roll call that Ashley Rump is absent. With members Christina Stewart, Max Whaley, Jerry Jackson, and Daryl Cutter are here.
Has everybody had a chance to look over the meetings minutes from October 15th?
Yes.
Is there anything anyone sees that needs to change?
Nope.
No.
Would anyone like to pass the minutes?
I will approve the minutes for October 15th, 2025.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? They are approved.
And for the old business, I just thought just a quick update. Our Stellar Pathways project, kind of the first one we have coming up is the sidewalk. That kind of formal application was submitted at the end of October. And we've got our kind of route finalized. So this is kind of our sidewalks that we're, if all goes well, we'll be constructing next summer. So there's an extension at Stinkler Road from the school, proposed sidewalk along Western Row, a connection on Main Street, kind of complete that sidewalk on that side of the street, down at the end of Central Avenue from the Civic Club to the park, on Rollman Drive from the grocery store down to Holland, and then on Miller Street from North Street up to kind of the library, and then on Linover Street from the library down to kind of the end of Linover Street, and then on North Street from Holland to 262. So just kind of keeping you guys updated there. We'll probably hope to get that project started sometime next summer. And then, of course, with our other streetscaping project, that's the one that we're not approved for funding until July of 2028. So that's, as we get more information, I'll kind of update you on that too. And then if there's no questions on that, I'd say we can go ahead and do 12870 North Street, just based off the audience we have, and I think that's what most folks are interested in. So this is a property that's marketed for sale. That's the one right in the middle of the town. So this property, I know Jay Knowles reached out to me the other day, mentioned they have someone interested. I think they're pretty close on kind of the terms. Maybe just a little bit of gap there. So no hurt, no harm in having a conversation with you all. It is within our kind of economic development area. We have talked about potentially tipping this area, but we don't have, there's not really been that private investment really makes sense quite yet. So I guess I'll kind of turn it over to you guys and maybe give us an update on kind of what you're wanting to do and maybe how you think we might be able to help.
Well, I'll just do an introduction. So, Caleb is the gentleman that is interested in purchasing this building. Of course, Greco's own it. And so Caleb has done other properties. He's done one similar to this in Osgood where he's done a complete renovation on, put business in it. And he would like to do the same thing here in Dillsboro. And, just kind of history, because I've had that building, I've had one of the Indiana landmarks, and I have the Victorian across the street. And I've shown them all numerous times. And the statement when we walk out the front door and stand on the sidewalk, they look left and they look right and they go, I just don't know why I want to take on this, because I see people leaving, not coming.
Mm-hmm.
We have somebody that wants to come. So, Caleb, thank you.
I prepared, kind of a written, basically give you a synopsis of who I am, where I come from, and my intention. So, first I want to thank you guys for putting me on the agenda in short notice. I've grown up in Osgood my entire life, and now I have roots in Osgood. So my wife is from Osgood as well. We both graduated from Jacksonville and Boston property outside of Osgood. Gillens, I'm sure Mr. Whaley here, he was one of my teachers in school. But we ended up getting married in 2015, and now we have 5 beautiful children. 2017, my brother, dad, and I started a custom wood and metal business called Iron Timbers. We built our facility by the tracks in town, and since then, our business has created a few jobs. It's promoted Osgood in a national way by landing on a TV show called Good Bones. We were featured on there for 4 seasons, over 30 episodes, and it was totally a blessing from God. outside of Iron Timbers, my brother, dad, and I, we both take on our private projects, and we also have a real estate holding company. It's called Mountaintop Ventures. And we started that because of the opportunity to buy a building in town. And since the purchase of that building, we completely remodeled one of the spaces, and now the UR Cafe is actually in there. So I don't know how often you guys make it to Osgood, but the UR Cafe used to be out by the quarry a little bit where the walking trails are. And you wouldn't even know it was a coffee shop if you were standing right in front of it. That's how, you know, it just looks like an old factory building, essentially. So we're really good friends with them, and we finally, you know, convinced them, like, hey, we'll put money into this building, and we think it'd be great for our downtown. And it is. And they're doing great. Most of the investments we make in Osgood are as a group. This, however, I just want to make clear that this is a personal investment. And you know, we've been invested in Osgood in several ways. I'm part of the Osgood Beautification Committee, along with my brother and dad. We kind of like to hang out, I guess. And we are part of a subcommittee called the Urban Development Committee. And what that committee does is it brings new houses into our town. So it's new construction. We partner with the Southeastern Career Center to build our first home. It's taken a few years. I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but the Career Center Building Trades Program used to build several houses around the Versailles area. One a year is what it used to be. My dad taught there for 30 years. But there is a gap of them just stopping, not building anywhere. And I'm not really sure why, but a few years ago, we picked that back up, and now they're in Osgood. So we hope to have that house on the market and sell that hopefully early next year with intentions on building a couple more. We're actually going after some READY funding, READY 2.0. And that's, from what I understand, our project is a favorable project for our town, which is great for the Urban Development Committee. We also have the Reynolds Foundation, who has, been a total game changer. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that or not, but Golda Reynolds, they left a $10 million fortune to the town specifically for Osgood. And since that, in the early 2000s, I believe, when it was released to the public, they've grown it now to, I think, close to 30 million. So we have a good group of people running that and making some really good infrastructure progress with our town. And as I just saw, you guys are doing the same thing, it looks like, with sidewalks and all that. So I'm totally familiar with that. And I'm sharing all this with you because, you know, we were just talking, I'm kind of like a visionary. My dad, my brother are too. We see potential in small town, and really the philosophy is, if you build it, people will come, you know. I'm not so much a realist, I guess. I like to be a little bit more optimistic than that. And through that way of thinking, it's definitely benefited our town. Since the purchase of where the UR Cafe is now, we're actually bought another building from the Reynolds Foundation, actually, right by the damn theater, where we've showed to a couple different people. Actually, Sarah Vega, we showed her, and it's not in a, you know, an atmosphere to have kids or anything like that. But within the next year, we're going to be developing that property as well, and then hopefully getting a new business in there. So this all ties back to this building that we're talking about. I read through a little bit of your comprehensive plan, and not all the 190 pages or whatever it is, but something that did stand out to me is pretty obvious, and that was the first goal was to repair and reuse and the reuse of existing buildings to slowly restore and repopulate downtown using existing buildings. I mean, if all small towns could do that, then, you know, they'd all look great, but unfortunately, there are some towns out there that are kind of, you know, going downhill in a sense. So, my intentions with the building, I guess I should say, when I first saw the building, Jay took me over there to look at it. And the commercial space is obviously where I saw the potential. Obviously, it's an investment. Okay, so at the end of the day, I'm not here to, and you know, not gonna be running for the board at Dillsboro or anything like that. The numbers have to pencil out, and through some back and forth with Susan and her husband, I try to work deals creatively. So the more creative I could get with a deal, for both sides, it's usually a longer term situation because I look to hold long term. I'm not looking to turn around and flip something like this. So I try to structure it in a way that, you know, works for both parties. And respectfully, you know, I understand why Susan and her husband want to go, you know, sell the property and, you know, kind of wash their hands of it, which is totally, I get that. But there's a gap, there's a little bit of a gap from where I need to be and where, you know, where they need to be. So I'm just here to give you this information and see if it's something that you guys are interested in talking about, if it's a favorable project for you. And yeah, just answer any questions you have regarding it.
Well, I'm in favor for us to get something going on into our town, something new, commercial wise, so. Definitely, do you have what are you thinking? Do you know?
Yeah.
And that's what I was just going through my email again, because I was like, maybe I didn't catch what we were, because I remember he did mention that you were coming to speak with us and.
Well, I mean, I caught wind a little bit that somebody might be interested in, you know, putting a coffee shop. I don't know if there's a coffee shop here, or I think any small town, you know, a coffee shop is a viable option for especially a downtown. You know, if you drink coffee, you know, you understand, I just drink Americanos, but I mean, I would travel to Emily's Brew.
Well, they are very well, so are you talking like something like that, to where they have like a breakfast sandwich with the coffee,
it wouldn't,
you know?
Yeah, it wouldn't be my business, I would not, but if I had a choice, I guess, of a business that could go in there, I think a coffee shop, and speaking from a community aspect, it's a good place for the community to come, right? So,
Right, you know, because when I go in to grab something like in the morning or something, you got some gentlemen over here, they're just talking, having their coffee, relaxing, nice atmosphere. They got a place they can come, join, you know, have conversation and then go on their way.
They do that at
And then-
BP right now.
Yeah, and then you
There's
go
a big
to
pizza.
lunch, you know, they have lunch.
yeah,
And then, you know, you don't have to be open all day, but if you got another place to go to lunch, get you some coffee, you know,
Yeah.
go in for, you know, that would be really nice.
And are you planning on just renovating and having it for leasing both
yeah.
two commercial units, or do you even know at this point?
Well, I don't know at this point, really, because I don't want to get too ahead of the curve, the ball here. I see that there is potential for two there. But, you know, if I found someone who were to do a coffee shop and had a business plan to go in there and do that, that back part could also be used as like a kitchen area
Perfect for a kitchen.
because coffee shops need that too. Well, some of them do, especially if you have food, you gotta have 3 sinks, you know, you gotta have a place to prep the food. There's pretty strict requirements on what you have to have in there. And I just know that from the build out of the UR Cafe.
Oh, I mean, the health department is pretty strict,
Yeah.
I mean, especially in Dearborn County.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank goodness, because
Yeah,
I love it, because I know I can pretty well eat in Dearborn County, because they're
Right,
pretty
yeah.
strict,
Well,
so.
the Tuckers just completely renovated the Rinks General Store in Bright. Did a complete renovation, just recently opened it, and it is a coffee shop on the first floor, and that place is packed.
all right.
Oh, I mean, I drive to Kroger right now.
Yeah.
My daughter knows, she works over in Greendale, and when she's leaving, she's like, hey, Mom, you want me to stop? And I'm like,
Yeah,
yes,
I
I do.
don't drink coffee either, but I'm at Funny Farm Coffee there, because it's right around the corner from my office. People prefer to meet there as opposed to our office, so I go down there and meet one.
I mean,
Yeah, it's a
And
nice
they
atmosphere,
do
yeah.
sandwiches and stuff down
Right,
there,
yeah.
it's simple. They
you don't have to,
they're not
feed me well,
frying
just give me a
stuff, they're
coffee and a
doing-
sandwich, I'm there.
Yeah, and I mean,
Simple.
it's a place where, take Jake, for example, you know, he doesn't drink coffee, but maybe he needs to, sit down for a Zoom or something and is in between meetings or something like
Exactly,
that, so.
right.
If, up at the UR, I mean, I'm up there every morning, you wouldn't believe the young kids that it brings. There's a lot of young youth up there, which you didn't see that in the UR Cafe back at their previous location because it was off the beaten path. So, there are a lot of benefits. And, you know, like I said, I'm not, you know, made of magic where I snap my fingers and that happens. I could just, I guess from a business perspective, and also as like someone who built out a coffee shop and sees what it does to the town. So I'm looking at it from a lot of different angles. That would be a good business to put in there.
I travel around a lot of towns. One day, I was at 3 different coffee shops because I was in between appointments. Went in there, set my laptop, just opened everything up, and worked. It, you know, I was Brookville, Rising Sun, and Aurora. You know, and there's Aurora has a coffee shop, Lawrenceburg has a coffee shop, Rising Sun has a coffee shop, Versailles has a coffee shop, on and on and on. Dillsboro does.
Which, I mean, I think we've talked about that dozens of times, how well that would go over. So I guess my thing, you're basically looking to acquire the property, obviously, do the renovations based on when you find someone who's willing to lease it from you.
Yeah, and that structure in itself could be, yeah, I have a business plan. I have, you know, $15,000 to make, you know, improvements inside or like a build out.
Right.
I'm pretty handy. I mean, I build stuff for a living. But I also have a big family, you know, so my time is delicate to me. But whether I have to hire out the work or come here, I mean, honestly, if I'm honest with myself, I'd probably be involved in the project to a certain capacity. So,
How long of a build out?
yeah, that's a great question. It would depend on what kind of terms were set up, right? So I'm not asking for anything specific. Really, I'm just here to have a conversation and see, you know, where you guys, what you're thinking. I can tell you the conversations that Susan and I and Jay have had and where we haven't landed. And whatever kind of questions you have.
You mentioned a gap. I mean, can you share what your gap is?
I know that Susan and Lucky.
Actually, if I may
Or two.
clarify, I don't own the building. I signed the building over to my husband and my son when I started as town manager, because I felt there was a conflict of interest for me to be managing properties in town. So I've kind of been the go-between trying to connect Salvi and Lucky, because we would have been in Italy for 8 months. So, the conversation with me is, I'm mainly here from, I can't get out of economic development mode, and I see this as an opportunity for Dillsboro to maybe spark in the downtown. We've talked about this kind of stuff before, and when I found out a little bit more about what Caleb wants to do and the things that he's done in Osgood, it might be a big opportunity for Dillsboro. So that's kind of where I am as far as on the property itself. They, Lucky and Salvi did reduce the price significantly, and there's still somewhat of a gap there. And the biggest problem is whether the property has the value or not. It's a matter of, it's a big risk to open a business in a dying downtown that's small like Dillsboro. There's the risk right there. Even if you go to the bank and try and borrow the money, you can have a solid business plan and you can have all kinds of collateral, et cetera, but they want to see where the business is going, so.
Yeah, we definitely need, it's, we've lost, like I'm a farmer, we lost our feed bill, we learned to farm.
Yes.
That hurts me big time, but this town really needs to get back in there.
We need more businesses. in
Yeah,
our town.
I lived here for 11 years, and as soon as my son, my business is over, close to Lawrenceburg and well, all the way out here too, but as soon as my son could buy his first home, he said, I'm going back to Dillsboro, Dad. Dillsboro's a great town.
So I guess myself, I'm very willing to entertain whatever we need to do to make it more not even so much profitable, but to make something happen, because we do need something in that. I mean, that is a huge piece of downtown. What is your plan for the upstairs?
The upstairs, I walked it, from my understanding, I think one guy might be in there. I mean, it looks, to me, I'd like to get a little bit of a deeper look at some things, but, I've been in several apartments and I think
It's
that,
cosmetic.
yeah, I think it's just cosmetic.
So we're not only looking at a business, but we're also looking at more housing coming available, because
Oh,
that's the other
definitely.
thing is, I know towns die when you have no housing.
How
Right,
many apartments are up there?
There's 4 total.
There is
There's
4.
one on that bottom right-hand corner on the back, goes across the back edge with a
Uh-huh.
rear entrance and a side. And then there's the entrance, actually, there's an entrance on the front and the back of the building that goes upstairs. There's 3 apartments up there. And they're big.
yeah, and even, I mean, something that would just help it tremendously, I think, and like I said, it depends on how much can I like put in, I'm not a bank where I can just have these unlimited funds. I'm trying to make smart investments for my family for the future. But even just like a paint job, some
Lipstick
fresh coat
helps
of paint or
everybody.
something like
It
that,
looks great with lipstick on.
yeah.
I mean,
So, yeah, I would, and I've looked at the apartments here, which are nice, and, I feel like these would be a little bit more affordable than that. Which personally, if I were to rent out an apartment, yeah, I want it to be nice, but I also would love to be above a coffee shop, you know what I mean, like,
I mean,
Yeah. And
my kids are aging quickly, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, Susan, correct me if I'm wrong, but the only reason there's 3 empty apartments in there is because you guys were going to Sicily for 8-9 months, and they didn't want to manage
Oh,
apartments
that's hard to do
from
from,
overseas.
yeah, that's
So as
impossible.
leases expired, knowing that they were going to go, they did not put somebody back in.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Yes, no?
That and the fact that, when we are here, it's for a short period of time and we don't wanna spend, we're tired. We're tired landlords and, Lucky he is definitely out of money property. Just one's out. So,
Well, that's why I'm looking at,
It's just
I don't wanna assume your age, but you're young blood. You're
I'm-
young blood coming in and,
I'm
that's,
32.
But that- I
So,
mean, you're
yeah,
young.
I'm trying to get into the game, they're trying to get out of it,
Yeah.
so,
which,
yeah.
we need that, we need the people who, she's done in Dillsboro what a lot of people couldn't have done.
So,
So it's okay for her to say, I'm gonna pass the torch to you, and I'm very interested in what we need to do to help that torch stay lit and go.
Derek, is this where there's a conversation as to what what that gap is? And
Yes,
say it out loud?
yeah,
I mean, unless you need to do more work and you and I need to meet and discuss this, I mean, that's an option.
I mean, I'm open to sharing. I didn't ever check with Lucky, because our conversations have been few and far between, but
He's got a price he wants to offer. They got a price they want. There's a gap in between that.
is it
So-
enough that, or is it something, do you know what it is there?
No.
Okay,
I know,
cause,
I met with Susan and I don't know, I kind of skimmed it, is that the gap, that dollar amount?
Well, that was the last I had spoken with Jay, so Jay can fill us in on that.
I mean, I'm fine with discussing.
Yeah, I think that's why we're here.
yeah, cause I mean,
Yeah.
the more we know, the more,
Yeah.
like, we can say,
Yeah.
yeah, Derek, we can do that, right? Can
So,
we do that?
Let me give you some background, and Susan, if you don't mind. And I know you don't own the building,
I don't care.
but I say I work creatively, so for instance, this might have worked out if they were looking for like a longer term return on their money. I offered them initially 300,000. It was gonna be over 20 years with a 0% situation. So it was gonna help me with my cash flow. It's gonna help me, build it to then put it back into the space downstairs faster. Okay, well, they want to get out. Ultimately, we went back and forth through a couple of those situations. And then I made an offer, and where Lucky is now is at 230. I was originally at 190, and then I came up to 200. So the difference is the down payment, right? Because now I'm dealing with a bank. I don't like to deal with banks just because they really just take our money. And yeah, there's opportunity to have a good relationship with your bank, and we have a great relationship with our bank, but so the gap, I guess, would be the 20% of that 230.
46,000.
46,000.
I was mapping wrong.
I'm a realtor. Math is good.
I don't wanna tell you what I am, cause then you'll be like, why it's not math pockets, cause they have calculators.
Right.
So,
Are you looking at like a loan option? Is that what you're looking for? Like a low interest loan?
I'm looking for my options, the best case for me, I think, obviously, I don't think anybody would disagree, but I think it would be okay to say it, is if it were like a forgivable loan option. Which I know some towns do, some towns can't do that. And I've, talked with Greensburg about a similar situation up there. And I don't know what kind of funds you guys have allocated from the state and county, and like what you can do to help, because I know it is a core part of your downtown revitalization plan as well. So that
So
would
I
be
guess-
best case.
forgive me, cause I'm gonna stop right there, cause if not, I'm not gonna remember. What is that? I don't deal with loans, so forgivable loan option, we're basically loaning it to them in the
I think
good,
it's like a grant, I guess.
yeah, we're in the good
It would
faith
be
that he's gonna do
essentially
something
a
to,
grant.
So
And-
if you don't mind if I hop in real fast, my name's Gage Pace, I work for One Dearborn Economic Development. I'm not an extreme master at TIF and redevelopment, but I do know there are a lot of limits on what redevelopment can actually do in a situation such as this. They can't just give you funds. I don't believe that they can even do loans, like legitimate loans. I'm not saying there aren't creative ways to do a deal such as this, but a lot, kind of where my head is going right now, sound like filling this gap. There's not really a whole lot of options redevelopment commissions can legally do in that by themselves. Now there are other things that we could discuss. If you wanted to talk to One Dearborn, when we set up a community development corporation, which can help remove some red tape if the redevelopment commission would want to do something like that. We recently did a hotel deal in Greendale where the redevelopment commission was able to support that project in a way, sort of like you're speaking, through our CDC and do it legally. And there's a whole process that you kind of have to go through to do all of that. You would have to speak with the CDC, they would have to be okay with doing it, that's a board in itself. What I would recommend doing, if you guys don't mind me giving a recommendation here. So we work with Greendale Redevelopment, the County Redevelopment, Aurora Redevelopment. And what they do in scenarios such as this is they have an application for incentives. It's a form that I can provide you all that you can give to, is your name Caleb?
Yes.
That you could give to Caleb. It's gonna ask all the questions about the project. So it's gonna give you a broader sense of what's going on with this project. And allow him to explain the project a little better too, so you can make the best informed decision. And it kind of put what he's looking for out on the table in paper, what you guys would want. And then you can kind of go from there. I know you probably weren't planning on making a decision. I know you're just kind of giving an upfront idea of what's going on tonight anyway. And then One Dearborn, part of our service agreement with you all is to, if you guys want deals to happen, do our best to make them happen as well. So it could be a conversation. We can meet with Derek, you, Caleb, Susan, Jay, whoever wanted to be in the room to talk about it. But just things to kind of keep in mind is your funds really can only go towards public infrastructure improvements or some sort of capital improvement that's going to help everybody. So you can't really use it for like gap financing and stuff. Not to kill your presentation.
No, but that's good, because we just did another year with One Dearborn, so we really like that we can use you for that, so thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, I mean, how do you feel about that, bringing One Dearborn in and?
I mean, so it doesn't sound like, even a loan would be essentially how I left it with.
I don't remember us ever doing facade grants are the program, yeah, and that's a good question for like, you know, like Anthony or like, you know, a lawyer that knows the deep ends of the TIF. But I know like you could potentially do like a facade grant. You guys already have a facade grant program.
We don't have one for 26 now.
No.
Okay, so the ultimate,
But I think we can look into that, because I think we can do an economic development agreement. I think there's ways we can look at it.
Sure.
so I don't think that satisfies the issue of
Right.
them wanting what they want and him offering what he wants to offer. Because the ultimate goal is to get them what they want. So that you know, if he's
Right.
going through a bank, it's 20%, 46,000, but they're essentially $30,000 apart.
I understand.
Now you can say I can do a facade grant, but that's gonna go to him in the building, it's not gonna go to them.
Right.
And that's
Cash.
where our
Mm-hmm.
impasse.
So that's where the CDC could come in handy. Because essentially what happened in Greendale is they wanted a grant for somewhat of the same thing. And Greendale Redevelopment Commission made an economic development grant, went to the Dearborn County Community Development Corporation, and then they were able to then grant that to the hotel development. So it's definitely something we can talk more about if you guys would want to.
I mean, myself, I'm very interested in trying to help that deal facilitate, because that is a huge part of downtown. I mean, that is basically downtown.
Yeah.
It is a building we need it to be.
Vacant.
Yeah, we honestly, we need someone to do something with it, and, you know, Susie, you guys are tired. I mean, and I would understand it
It has
perfectly.
sat vacant since we moved the hardware store out, the commercial space.
Right,
Commercial, I mean, the apartments have basically stayed rented until we quit renting them.
right.
We just won't rent them. We have people calling them all the
Oh,
time.
I'm sure.
But
Because like we need the
commercial
housing.
space, we just plain were too busy with our new location and run out of steam. I mean, it gets to a point where, we had too many irons in the fire, and that was what was let go. Shouldn't have been.
But retirement's kind of nice, huh?
It would, I mean, that place is sat there empty for a lot of years. And it would do a lot, I think it would do a lot for the downtown just to have something occupying the space.
Doing what I do,
Even
I
if you
see,
do pop-ups of some sort
Yeah.
for on 3 months.
doing what I do, I see people that have properties like this, just such as you guys that have had it forever. And it comes into, it's just a maintaining state. You know, and a lot of times it takes a new person to come in for a renovation to happen, or for it to change.
Something that would be important for me is, you know, timing for something like that. I don't know how, you know, you start involving, which I am completely fine with involving whoever, I mean, I kind of do similar stuff, but not what we're talking about, obviously. But how long would a process, something like that, even for that Greendale,
We
how
made,
long did that take?
it's relatively quick,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, one Dearborn, we're hired, we have a service agreement with this town, so it's our job to, you know, move.
When you say relatively quick, is that like 3 months, 6 months?
Well, we had to set up the CDC, and that took a little while, but once we had it set up, it was just a matter of explaining the project to that CDC board, them approving it, and making the transactions.
Okay.
Would that same CDC board oversee this, or it'd be a?
Yes.
Okay. So that's already been established.
Yes, yep.
So we're already ahead of the game in that sense.
Yeah, it's already established, so it can be used as a tool, it's just sitting there waiting, yeah.
So I feel like we definitely should explore that avenue with you.
yeah.
Because
that's-
if whatever we can do with whatever we can offer, I mean, I personally, am willing to do that because that's gonna help you. And that's gonna help us. I mean, that's a piece of property that,
I see once that building gets done and it shines, the 3-story, the Victorian across the street, you know, I've had interest in both those buildings many times.
Yeah.
Except for they didn't want to be the first one on the block.
nobody wants to do the first off of the block.
Okay.
I mean, but that Victorian is gorgeous. So I know one day.
It's really cool. It doesn't need a lot of work, absolutely. But just everything inside is gorgeous.
But it is beautiful.
It's got beautiful woodwork, beautiful fireplaces, everything.
You know, I think we could shoot to have some more information and maybe like a process and a proposal at the next redevelopment convention. I mean, maybe we could work out some details. I mean, sounds like you guys are pretty committed. I mean, I agree. I think it's, you know, a great opportunity for us to get some of that first thing started, so.
Yeah.
Do you need do you need a rendering? Do you need drawings, or anything of what the intent layout would be for the building, or colors, and, you know, does all that stuff help fast track this?
I think
or-
we would want some sort of like commitment, you know, whether that be whatever, you know, something we can agree on, that here's my plan, my rendering, whatever, and you know, or even if it's, you know, 2 commercial units, whatever it is, you know, with a certain timeline, certain term.
Well, I mean, even just saying, my intent is to
Yeah, sorry, I
Put
have
feelers-
papers here that I.
put feelers out for, you know, if you, our cafe felt like expanding, we would love to welcome them to our community.
Right.
You know, I mean, we're all about welcoming. But the other thing is, you know, just the housing, I mean, like Susie said, she's got people wanting to rent it, she just doesn't want
Oh,
to.
I get calls
I mean,
twice
you
a
probably-
week looking
yeah.
for renters.
And this
Yeah.
might not be relevant from the information that, sorry,
Gauge.
Yeah. Has shared, so this is just something that this, property address is not right, sorry, but, just note that.
Yeah.
But I just tried to forecast, you know, how the conversation might go. And like I said, some of it might not even be relevant. It kind of gives my intent up there in the overview.
And then what I'm asking.
So this is essentially the 20% down payment on the loan.
And we even tried a situation where, you know, seller carry with a balloon, and that wasn't viable. And that would have been that was, you know, as good as it could get for me. I'm not trying to come in and.
Well, this is how strong his interest is, and it's, you know, doesn't work for them, but he was offering $50,000 more than the asking price for the property. But to spread that over a long time and let them be the bank. And that's, if I were in your position, I wouldn't want to be the bank today either. I've worked hard to get to where I am, and I don't want to be a
If
bank
it were
today.
my decision, it would have been a different decision. It's not mine.
Yeah, understood.
Well, and I mean, unfortunately, sometimes you can't just make the world happy, but what we can do is try to bridge that gap. So.
So we're planning on,
I would love to hear more
Phase
from
two,
you next
yeah.
week or next month.
Yeah.
Is it in December?
Yeah, I think it's
So,
17.
Yeah.
you help work with him and you three make a little,
I can get with John too on our legal side and make sure he's comfortable with what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I think it sounds fantastic and whatever we can do to help facilitate that. And within the bounds of what we're allowed to do. I think we should definitely entertain that next meeting and hopefully we can get started by sometime in the first of the year, because that'd be fantastic to have something, you know, downtown before summer.
Susan, you've been through all that, so many potential people in the last 5 years that you were manager here that go do this, do that, you know. But his reputation and your family's reputation. See, my daughter was really good friends with the McClures,
Okay.
your sister.
Yeah.
And they moved out, boy, that kind of hurt too, you know.
Yeah.
And so I don't think there's any problem with it.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm glad you told us so much
Yeah.
about yourself, because that
Yeah.
kind of gives us the, you're gonna be someone like Susan who wants to develop the town. And I
Yeah.
mean, Susan put her blood, sweat and tears into this town and
Yeah, and
she's,
you know, I'm not gonna come in at a capacity like that, you know, I'm from Osgood. Osgood is really where my heart is, and we
Right.
have plans to buy more buildings in town and renovate them and make it, you know.
we don't want your
really-
whole heart. I mean,
Right.
We do, but we don't.
Yeah, so I also don't wanna mislead you to think that, you know, I'm gonna, you know,
right.
second house.
Moving the
here.
family to Dillsboro.
Yeah.
But I do.
We have a great school, so.
We homeschool, so. But no, it's good.
Yeah.
But I do have my reputation, you know, as a young person and, you know, we have a business and, I try not to get into anything that I can't see through. And like I said, this is long-term for me. It's a good investment from what I, you know, have researched. But also it kind of pulls my heartstrings a little bit too, because I am involved in a similar capacity in Osgood. So I understand how important something like this and what it could do for a community, and that's really important to me too. So sometimes I gotta try to push that out of the way, but for this, it's kind of like a win-win, in my opinion.
Right, so our plan is to meet at,
We'll get time to get together, we'll meet and look at what some options we have and maybe we'll present a more formal proposal and process.
Caleb, is that a reasonable timetable for you?
Yeah. Now, if it were like a 6-month situation, you know, that's a long time.
I
And
can
a
find
lot
another
could-
project
a
itself.
lot could happen in 6 months.
I know government moves slowly.
Yeah,
I think we can maybe target something to present in December and try it for approval in January,
okay,
potentially.
especially if Dearborn's able, because they've already got what they need set up, we just need to get approval on their end. If they're gonna be able to help us get where we need to get with you,
yeah,
then,
Legally.
yeah, I mean,
Do that.
we do like that.
Right,
Right, right.
yeah, for the record, I'm not, trying to convince you to do anything illegal.
We appreciate that, 'cause we're not either. Alright, well, that's exciting. I'm
And then-
excited to welcome you into Dillsboro. It'll be a very nice addition.
Yeah, I
Appreciate
drive
it.
through my old town and I'm thinking, what could we do to improve everybody's life in a small town? You know,
And hopefully, I mean, God willing, it creates the effect that Jay just mentioned, like, well, I mean, who wouldn't want to live across from a coffee shop?
Yeah, right.
And, you know, potentially run I don't know what house, run their business out there or what have you.
Well, that's why I've always enjoyed visiting with Susan all the way back when she was manager here, and because of her vision. And, you know, I don't do everything I do because of money. I really like seeing towns being transformed. And Dillsboro has such wonderful parks. I mean, the location is, you know, like it or hate it, Link 101 would have brought more to, you know, this to the area, you know, to, yeah, you know, so, but yeah, if this is Main Street, and all these towns have a Main Street, it's kind of like the argument in Greendale. Greendale, they have a Main Street, but they don't have a Main Street. Because they don't have any businesses on Main Street, it's all residences.
And Osgood has really transformed. I mean, when I first moved into the Indiana area, it wasn't as great as it is now. Now you go through there and you're like, this is a neat
Well,
little
they're doing
town.
summer concerts, they're doing
Yeah.
things out there in the park, arts and stuff, you know.
And the
it's-
trails.
The trails,
People hit the
bring
trails.
people
yeah,
into
those
town.
trails back there are really nice.
Mhm.
You know, if you drive through town, you don't know those trails are there, but you go back there, they're nice.
Yeah.
You know, our main business is Jan's Diner. We lost our bank, we lost our post office, we
Hey,
lost our pharmacy.
Friendship's still here.
Yeah,
Friendship's still in Dillsboro.
well, I'm just saying there were two.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely, you don't want to see it,
Yeah,
so you gotta do something about it, and you just gotta persevere, honestly. I mean, you guys have to, and you're stepping up. If not everybody steps up, you know, they wanna see the change, but,
I need some new, fresh, younger blood, you know, Barbara Bob. Give it forever, my kids were getting their haircut when they were this, and they're, you know,
he's 73.
yeah. You know, those, all those things, and, you know, Greco's too, you know, it's time for them to move on, and there's story after story here of people that have moved on, and nobody's come to pick up the next pace of it.
And we appreciate that you're putting your hand up and saying, I'll take that first step.
yeah, I really appreciate you guys' time. We'll link up, see what we can do. I'm flexible, so nothing, I mean, besides the kids' schedule, that kind of dictates my schedule. But during the day, even if this is something that you do full time, and obviously if you do, then we can get something together.
Yeah.
But, if you guys don't mind, I mean, I would stay for the rest of the meeting, but I have to go pick my kids up at, religion, so that's that.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, really
thank you.
appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming.
Yep,
We're very excited to work with you.
nice to meet you all.
You too.
Take care.
Thank you.
I guess the new clerks will be out there a while,
Yeah, you should, check out the, factory that they're doing. Diggs, he's,
Is that the dog food?
no, it's,
Yes.
Newport, down in West Virginia. Sad to see him go, but
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll be there.
That's where your sister's.
Ashley, yeah,
Yeah.
Ashley. Arnie Clinton in Columbus, and Lindsay's in Dayton. So,
I knew the other girl, I didn't know what Lindsay was at.
yeah, so. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Caleb.
You gonna stick around for this next one, Jay?
I'm here.
All right.
I'll get, the ones I go to Lawrenceburg, they got pitches or, yeah, pitchforks and torches, so this is pretty good.
All right, so the next one I want to talk about is 12827 Planover Street. That's the old Indiana Mentors building. Jay, we've actually had that listed with Jay. That's the one town transferred to the Redevelopment Commission. It's been listed now for about 9 months. Yeah, it's been quite a bit. We've got Jay's got someone that's interested in it. But they're, as I understand it, looking more at a land contract. They're proposing daycare there, which I think is a great use for that property, great location. And I don't know if you want to tell anything more about that, or
Yeah,
I guess I can help.
you know, so this is not out of line of what most of the commercial people that I deal with or business people that I deal with. Couple sides of it, the seller, if you can do a land contract, you push some capital gains down the road, right? As far as the buyer for a startup of a business, they gotta give the bank 20% right off the bat. Usually their capital's gone, so they're struggling to just even redo the building or change what it is. If they can come in and do a land contract for a short period of time, agreeable period of time. You do a land contract, they'll pay a percent of an interest rate, just like you would pay to the bank, right? I generally, on all of them that I've done, I've had the buyer sign a quitclaim deed, which is drafted by an attorney, that if they default at any period of time, the property goes back. You don't have to go through foreclosure or any of fighting or anything. If they default, you know, it goes back, and they lose everything that they put into it. And the reason I like doing that is because if they're willing to sign that, they're invested. You know, people put $5,000 down and walk away. Life gets something, we just can't do this, they'll walk away. And that quitclaim deed kind of puts a kibosh on that. You know, the town, I understand, wants to make sure that they have access to the well in the back, historical, and the Vegas are perfectly fine with that. The more land they have is the more grass they have to mow, but they do need at least enough to fence in an area for a playground and those stuff for the kids. So, you know, we met out there with Derek, and I think it's an agreement easily that you guys have plenty of room to get back there, plenty of room to maybe put a parking lot or a little park back there, whatever that you want to do, whatever that is. And the Vegas still have plenty of room. But if they could enter into a land contract,
What are the terms they're asking for?
well, that's what I'm waiting for from their bank, because they're still taking out a loan.
Right.
So they're not looking at, I'm not sure exactly how that works, how that is planning to work right now, because they're working with Friendship. Okay.
See, I wasn't aware where, because I'm gonna be honest with everybody, these are my neighbors. They live catty corner from me, so I have heard about this from Sarah as well. I have opinions, but if you would rather me not voice them, I can kind of abstain.
Yeah, so I'm waiting on, I've messaged the banker a couple of times, I'm waiting on an answer from them as what they're planning to take a loan. Now, I don't know if that loan is immediate or if they're getting this in stages, or have some capital to be able to, build out inside. I don't have that yet, but I think today is really, they're willing to come here and speak to you guys as well. This is more about that we have somebody that is definitely interested in that building. I've had it for 9 months, I've showed it twice, and that's it. And you guys reduced the price. And this all goes back to, if that building was in downtown Lawrenceburg, I'd sold it 10 times.
So
It's
when
that simple,
the other
so-
first people that looked at it, they weren't even willing to entertain. Okay, so this is our first really good,
This is
Solid.
the first good solid lead, and the others.
For the asking price that we were asking, or what?
Well, that's what Derek just asked me. I know that, I think they threw a number somewhere around 230 to start. So they're not like really low balling, but they're
what
not.
are we asking for right now?
It's at 259.
It is a 259.
So John and I have gone back and forth on this a little bit, and my understanding is, we'll have to do an appraisal, we'll have to,
Didn't we do
Have it.
that not too long ago?
we haven't had an appraisal on this one, we've had an appraisal on the North Street property.
Okay,
And then we're actually supposed to get two, and it has to accept the average value of the two. If we don't get a proposed offer that's at that, then we have to wait 30 days and then we can negotiate. And I would assume, we're probably not going to get very many proposals.
They really want the building, so I think that, if a land contract is the way for them to do this, to get into it. And it needs to be more than the 230. I don't know for a fact, but I have a feeling that they'll come up and, and be where it needs to be. But, you're gonna have two appraisals.
Well,
regardless,
I
right?
think we're have to play appraisals regardless, and then there's also, I think we might have had that description done too.
and we're for sure we didn't do an appraisal on that, because I thought we did when we first.
We haven't done an appraisal on this one.
Okay,
Yeah, and then they're gonna have to put together a business plan for Friendship anyway, just as well.
Yeah.
So it'd be the same one we present to you.
So what I'd like to do is go ahead and, we have approved, you guys approved us getting appraisals, we just haven't done it.
okay, I remember hearing something about the
We haven't
appraisal.
done it.
You want to
Okay.
complete
The word.
Yeah,
I think the one thing that might hold us up though is getting that description done, since we're gonna have to split it. So I'd like to be able to go ahead and call a surveyor and get that process started.
Well, you got Eric Lane right here in town.
Yeah.
He lives
Well, and I know Rob Seek's done a lot of work on this property
Saw it
in
all the
particular
other
too.
I'm all for it.
I mean, honestly, daycare is probably the toughest thing in a small town to find. So if we have someone who's willing to do a daycare center, be licensed, be all the things that we definitely would, I mean, it's gonna bring people.
There's a lot to be said for somebody that lives here in Dillsboro, and there's a lot of people live here in Dillsboro. Or even coming from Versailles and headed that way, that actually drop their children off here. Or have after school bus drop off, even, it depends on what age group she does, but, there's.
And there's also people that work at the manor that may say, hey,
Yeah.
I'm right next door. My
Again,
kids-
I've not seen a daycare yet, and I've dealt with a few of them that is,
Yeah.
trying
I mean,
to
she was
get
the
people
first
to come
person
in.
I met when I moved here because she, like I said, they live catty corner from me. I watched her kids grow up. They're here in Dillsboro. I mean, there will be nothing that gets them out of this town. So the fact that they want to develop the town too.
I'm all for it.
And that building's very suitable for a daycare.
Oh, it's
Oh, yeah.
beautiful. Couldn't be a
It's,
better spot for.
the construction inside allows them to gut every wall if they want to and just have a big old open room or keep the rooms that are in there and.
Well, and it's not on a busy enough street that she has to worry that she's got. I honestly don't think she could have picked a better building and we couldn't have picked a better business to
It's
bring
got plenty
people
of
to town.
parking because
Yeah,
they're in and out.
Yeah.
It's got the foyer in the front with the windbreak, with the door, so that works really well for, drop off right there. It's just really a good layout.
So I was hoping I could kind of start that process of getting a survey. My thought process has been, so this is kind of how the property is laid out. Where basically this kind of orange color would be split off and made the one parcel for them. This red would kind of be retained for the town. And then kind of what I crosshatch would be easements. So that.
So you talked about going back that far, because when we were out there that day, we talked about just cutting right across here,
Wherever.
coming off of that corner line.
I
there.
don't know that we need a ton of space back there. I think, at least I'm open to, if they want more or less. I mean, it wouldn't hurt.
Well, to make it more, the thing is to make it more appealing to you guys. If they have that, they're good.
Okay,
You know what I mean? So they don't need all that back there, that the town can retain more of it. And they'd be happy with just that much right there.
I mean, do you guys have concerns? I mean, if I get some proposals and start getting this thing.
Honestly, I would love to see it go as quickly as possible, because
Okay.
if we get her in a building in town, she's gonna stop having Jay look in other towns.
Right,
I mean, cause that's the other
and if
problem,
we have
is I
an
see
interest
it,
in this
yeah.
building, let's,
Yeah, if she don't go here, she's going somewhere.
yeah,
It's
she's,
been
she
sitting-
will.
She's been looking at other buildings.
And
It's been
I,
sitting
like I
too
said,
long.
I know her very well. She's been one of my best friends for 9 years now. She is determined she will have a licensed business plan. They've already got, I mean, from what I understand, the bank has already guaranteed the money to her, because she's got a good business plan. She's got a good reputation. She's got parents banging her door down right now. She has 7 children she can't watch that have said, as soon as you get something.
And then she's not doing this from ground up. She's already licensed. She
And
is
she's
already.
been in daycare her whole adult life.
Yeah.
I mean, she's never done anything else.
Cause the licensing procedure is pretty intense.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
already been
she's
through all that.
impressive. She's been, right now she's doing it out of her home. And she's had them come in and inspect her home. She knows what's expected.
so do you need us to make?
Yeah, I mean, could you maybe just give me the okay to get a surveyor under contract, or I don't know if you want me to get pricing on that first, or just,
How about, I mean, personally, I would suggest we do the survey, do the appraisals, get this
Yeah, we
going.
gotta give him the.
So,
the
is
okay.
anybody okay doing the appraisal and the survey?
I'm okay with you going ahead and getting the appraisal survey,
And anything else that
anything
you
else that we
deem
need,
that
yeah.
we need to get done to get this started?
because I think, and then my understanding is then we could start advertising that kind of proposal process and get the ad in the paper, and then maybe as early as January, we can accept proposals, them being one. And, you know, hopefully they're the highest or the only one. If they are less than the average of the 2 appraisals, we gotta wait another 30 days, and then we can negotiate with them openly.
Yeah.
So
So,
just,
does
I don't
anybody
know if
make a
that's
motion
how
for
much
that?
we got. Kill them. I doubt it.
I make a
doubt it,
motion
but
for that.
they,
Somebody's got a second.
Would you like to second the motion for,
Yeah. I'll
Okay.
second that motion.
everybody in favor, say aye?
Aye.
I know I'm not on you guys' council, but in my opinion, no matter when this sells and to who, you're going to have the 2 appraisals and you're going to have the survey.
Exactly.
So there's really no reason to wait unless you guys just aren't capable of doing it.
right.
In my opinion.
I mean,
Are you
honestly,
guys
this is-
okay with, like I said, my thoughts are to do the easements, that way the town would retain an easement, so we don't have to put a new drive
I don't
access
think
in on
it'd
that
be an
street.
easement. You're going to break that off, survey that off, and you'll own that. It won't even be an easement,
Well,
I don't
there won't
think-
be,
right? Cause it'll be its own parcel.
yeah, I mean.
Cause an easement would mean that you're going through something they own and you're not at that point.
Right, but I was gonna just cut it straight down the side here, so we'd have to potentially put a new driveway access in, or,
An entryway.
yeah, or widen that approach.
What's the red hash marks there?
That was gonna be an easement that the town would retain, so that we could basically drive across the driveway, get over
Okay.
here, and then.
And
get
then
over-
swing over to the right to get
And
it.
then I was gonna propose that they get kind of this
See that?
gold area so that they can kind of walk around, get around. If they need to get to the back, they can drive across the town's property to get back there.
Yeah, cause there's not much room, it doesn't look like from
And I
the
think
house
it's- I
beside
think
it.
it's 25 feet, that strip is, and it's about on the edge of that building.
Yeah, it's pretty, yeah. It's
So, I
pretty.
mean, I think they're gonna, I mean, there's already a sidewalk there. And some other, maybe, I think there are water meters there too, so.
Yeah, I think that's acceptable, as long as it's acceptable, and, I mean, obviously, they're gonna have to mow back there and do their thing, so we need to make sure they have access.
Yeah.
To do the things they need to do, but I mean,
I don't think this one's probably as big with you. I mean, I'm sure we probably have a, a mutual understanding of it, and worst case, we could always just widen that approach if we got to, but.
all right, well, we passed that, so,
Okay, sounds good. Well, I'll get those started and, have that prepared. Hopefully we can have it all done for December, so we can start advertising and that process there.
Yeah, it's a little more than 20.
That's exciting. It's exciting business for Dillsboro. I mean, we, obviously, the daycare out on 50 has done exceptional.
Yeah.
I mean, they truly, they don't have any open spots either. That's the other thing, is everyone is full, so.
The only other thing I'll just quickly add here, it's not, I didn't put on the agenda, but 12916 North Street, the old shoe shop.
Yeah.
We have that, council did a request for proposal process. I've had more interest in the last 2 weeks than I had in that entire kind of process. We're still, I know council's still thinking about maybe transferring it to the redevelopment commission, just because there's a little bit more flexibility on how you guys can dispose of property and enter into the agreements. So that might still happen at some point too.
And I have a person interested as well.
Interesting.
That's
Look
all
at
I-
us making stuff happen over here. I'm excited. This is exciting.
That's all I have, unless you guys have questions.
So, any other business?
I can give an update on some of the stuff going on.
Fabulous.
So once again, Gage Space, One Dearborn Economic Development, thanks again for renewing for another year. We look forward to serving you all. I plan on coming to these as long as you guys have them. I know sometimes you don't have them because you don't have enough for the agenda. But I can come and kind of present on what's going on with us and things that are pertinent to the Dillsboro area. At each of your meetings, if you'd like, if you'd even like to put me on an agenda, you can. That is no problem. So first thing I have here for update is just that the SEI Ready Blight and Redevelopment request for proposals has reopened as of today. If you don't know what that is, so last year, Eli Lilly. So I don't know if you've heard of the Ready funds or not. The Ready grants $500 million statewide given to regions. We got 10 million as a region, but Eli Lilly on top of that pledged $250 million for blight and redevelopment projects in arts and culture. $185 million of that went towards blight and redevelopment projects. The first round of that funding just got allocated to projects like a couple weeks ago. So they spent 131 million of that 185 for the first round. In our region, Brookville, Indiana got a $2 million award for something called Renovate to Eliminate. A developer kind of like Caleb that was here today bought a bunch of buildings on their main street and is planning to renovate those. And it falls under what they're looking for blight and redevelopment projects. So that was a great kind of win for our region. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is because the request for proposal for the second round of that has opened. Now there's only $54 million only. I say only, but
Yeah.
statewide, it's not the biggest pot
That's
of
not
money.
worth talking about.
But it definitely can go a long way in small towns in Dearborn County. So that request for proposal is open. One thing that Mike and I talked about was that the Indiana Landmarks building could be a really good proposal for some of that funding. So just wanted to make you all aware of that. We can, when we meet with Caleb, whenever that ends, we can talk about that too later on, or we can talk about it with him.
Indiana Landmark will give that building to the right person
Yeah,
with the right proposal.
so yeah, it could be a great project. And it's kind of what we saw Brookville get money for is something very alike to that. So,
That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would be like,
so along with that, I mentioned that they also had $65 million for arts and culture projects, the LEI granted. Every region got a $50,000 planning grant for those funds. So before any region could put any projects forward for that funding, they needed to have a plan. So our plan, SEI Ready's plan, is being released on December 16th. It's going to be at an event in Versailles at the Tanglewood. And so if you know anyone who's in, this is really probably a good thing for like the Dillsboro Art, the council. If there's any projects in arts that Dillsboro is looking to work on or anything like that, it'd be great for those stakeholders to go to that meeting because the head honcho of it all is going to be there. So if anyone knows anyone has any arts projects, or if Dillsboro has any arts projects,
What's the date?
December 16th. It's at 10:30 a.m. at the Tanglewood in Versailles.
You guys have like a flyer or something?
Yeah, I can forward you what they sent us recently. Yeah, for sure. And the last thing, and I think I saw in the minutes last month that you mentioned the Clay Township TIF that's being kind of put together at the county level.
Yep.
So I don't know how much you all have heard about the Clay Township TIF, but it's north, I guess, or really it's northwest of the town, right outside of the limits of the town. That's something that the County Redevelopment Commission has seen as a priority to kind of create that TIF. So at their last meeting, they passed a declaratory resolution, which is the first part of enacting a TIF. The Redevelopment Commission has to pass that. The next step is next Monday, the County Planning Commission will vote on that. If that passes, then the commissioners will vote on it on December 2nd at their meeting. And then if that passes, then there's a final public hearing to create that TIF. That will be on December 8th. That's a Monday. I believe it starts at 5 p.m. That's a time for anybody local in the area to come and voice their opinions on that. If that all goes according to the way that the Redevelopment Commission wants to go, and they want to confirm it, then they will do a confirmatory vote on that TIF, and then it will be officially created after that point. And so that final public hearing, like I said, there's still quite a few things to go for it to go through before it gets there. Is December 8th at 5 p.m.
That development around Lakeville there, is that?
Yeah, I actually have a little thing I can kind of show you. It's a little map of it.
That's the idea.
Yeah, so this is kind of like the parcels and for the TIF. And then I think in the EDA is included, so I think this is just the allocation area, but then TIF area goes all the way up to Dillsboro, the economic development area. So,
Well, they've been running something out that way.
It's a sewer line.
Oh, sewer line, that's what I thought it was.
You got a low pressure sewer main, it's a 4-inch.
so, other than that, that's pretty much all the updates I had for today.
Thank you for your help in assisting with the Caleb. That's gonna be very helpful. So thank you for throwing yourself out there for us. All right, anybody else got anything? Does anybody like to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.